Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High-impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Max Story.
Hello, and thanks for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast today. So, back with you for the second part of 5 traits of high-impact team leaders. Last week, I told you a story, told you some background, introduced you to the first trait, which was focus on your own personal leadership development. And I decided to split this into 2 parts. So if you're listening to this as your first ever podcast episode you've listened to of the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast, jump back real quick, go to episode 488, and this one will make a whole lot more sense if you listen to part 1 before you listen to part 2. So I'm assuming you've done that. So let's dive into the second trait of high-impact team leaders. The second trait is connect with the team. What's the quickest way to connect with the team? Demonstrate respect. Respect who they are. Respect why they are there. Respect that they don't know you. Respect that some of them don't know each other. Respect that they may not want to change. Respect that they may not have liked the last team leader and initially don't have any reason to like you. Respect that they may not have enjoyed being on these type teams in the past. It's okay. And finally, expect to earn their respect. You can't demand it. You try to demand it, you certainly ain't going to get it. But that's why you demonstrate respect from the moment you meet the first team member. It's not about you, remember. It's about them. But it begins with you. You must establish a relationship with them as quickly as possible. That's why we had trait 1 first, development of self. You got to develop yourself so you can do these things I'm talking about quickly, authentically, build trust. That's what all this is about with a team of people. Not just one person, but a team of people. That team I described in the last episode, which is a tough team to lead. But you got to establish that relationship with each one of them as quickly as possible. You need them to help you accomplish your mission. They may not care if the mission gets accomplished because you are responsible, not them, and they know it. It's okay. You're the leader. If you can lead, there won't be a problem. Unfortunately, if you can't lead, you are the problem. If that's the case, you got to keep working on trait 1. See, a lot of people skip trait 1, then they can't do these other things. And a whole lot of other traits. They ain't just 5 traits to leading teams of people as a high-impact leader of teams. There's hundreds of traits. I'm just giving you 5 important ones. You must understand, if you can't connect with your team, you're doomed from the start. And it's not their fault. It's your fault. You're the leader. You're responsible. You haven't spent enough time on trait number 1. Don't look through the window and blame them. Look in the mirror and take responsibility. That's what high-impact leaders do. There's a reason personal leadership development is number 1. It's the one thing that will allow you to do all of these other things, just like I said a minute ago. I want to repeat it. It needs repeating. You might need to hear it again, but I got to move on to trait 3. You need to hear it again, hit that rewind button. Listen to it about 10 times. You with me? Trait number 3 of high-impact team leaders. You got to declare your intent to the team. Trust is the foundation of influence, authentic influence. As Stephen M.R. Covey Stated so simply, trust is the one thing that changes everything. In my book, Defining Influence, that I talked to you about last time, I wanted the reader to think deeply about trust. When I wrote it, I had to ask myself, if trust is the foundation of influence, what is the foundation of trust? As I thought about this question, I became confident that intent is the foundation of trust. And I wrote a lot about it in that book. When it comes to character, intent is our first impression. That's our first impression when we meet somebody. People may or may not understand what they're doing, but they're sizing us up. They're judging our character. And based on our character, they're going to tell themselves a story about our intent. So if you're just meeting the team, initially, they don't know you or your intent. You just walked in a room on Monday morning, in my case. But they want to know. They want to know you. They want to know your intent. That's one of the first things we do when we see someone, no matter where it is or who it is. I'm talking about just in general, anywhere. Walking down the street, somebody's walking towards you. You want to know, who is this person? What's their intent? Maybe not literally, what's their name, their address, their life story, but who is this person in general? What's their intent? Do I need to move to the other side of the sidewalk? Do I need to get out of the way? What's going on? They going to do me harm? But we want to know the intent of others around us, especially our leaders. Do they intend to harm us? Not the leaders, but some leaders would. Psychological harm. They do a lot of psychological harm. But when we're talking about just meeting people in general, do they intend to harm us if you're walking down the sidewalk type scenario? Or do they intend to help us? Leadership scenario. Are they there to serve us? Leadership scenario. Or do they expect us to serve them? That happens with your leaders, with your team members, people reporting to you 360 degrees. Others will quickly discover our intent. Just as no one can fool you for too long when it comes to their intent, neither can you fool others for very long when it comes to your intent. Like I told you, especially with blue collar folks, these folks can see in the dark when it comes to this. They can read you, they can read the room. It's a powerful thing to watch. If you work in the blue collar space, you already know what I'm talking about. To help ensure that they're looking for the right behaviors, talking about your team for the right reasons at the right times, you should declare your intent. Let them know you care about them. If you do, it'll be easy. If you do that and you don't, they're going to know you faking it. But if you truly care about them, if you are a high impact team leader, like I'm talking about here, you do care about them. Otherwise, you ain't a high impact team leader. So if you care about them, tell them. Then show them through your leadership how you interact with them from the very start. And this doesn't matter if you're leading a team like I was leading for 5 days, or if you're a leader of some other team. You might be a supervisor or a manager and you got a team of 10, 20, 100, 200. Doesn't make any difference. These are principles that apply to any leader leading a team of people. These are traits I'm talking about, and principles I'm using to help you understand the trait. The first thing I usually did once the event officially started is introduce the team members to each other. Remember I said a lot of times the team members don't even know each other. And I'd introduce them even though I had only just met most of them myself. Most of the time it was all of them I was just meeting. What I want them to know is that they matter. I want them to instantly know I'm different. I want them to ask themselves, why? Why am I different? Why is Mac different? Why is this guy different? And I'm sure you're wondering how I do this. If possible, what I would do is I'd get my contact at the location to assign the seats in the room. Most of the time it was possible. And basically give me a seating chart with the people's names when I arrive on that Monday morning, even before the other people, before my team had got there. So we had name tags out where everybody was going to sit that was on the team. And I had basically a key, a print, a diagram of the layout with the names. So while the local person, the coordinator, whoever got me to come in, whoever's going to kick off the event from within the company, while they were handing over the team to me, I was over on the side learning the names. They was giving the on-site person was giving them some spiel about what was going on that week, why we were there, why we needed to be successful that week, all that stuff. And I'm over there just getting this list of names, and I'm memorizing these 6, 8, 10 people's names. The most I ever had to learn was about 25, and I usually only had about 5 minutes or so. While the other guys in the room talking, that's kind of hard to do. You listen to somebody talk and you're trying to memorize 10, 15, 20, 25 names. Most of the time was 6 to 8, but a lot of times I did a lot of training and development where there was 20 to 25 people in the room. I did a lot of that too. So I'd say anywhere from 6 to 8 to 20 to 25 people. I learned those names in 5 minutes while somebody's talking in the background and I'm trying to listen to. It was quite the challenge, but it helped me declare my intent to show them that who they are mattered to me because I knew their name. And I introduced them, and they didn't know how I knew their name. But I would tell them that afterward. That even built more trust because they're like, he just come in and learned our name that quick. I can't remember somebody's name when I meet them 4 times, and it's one person kind of thing. A lot of people say that. 4th trait of high-impact team leaders, build trust with the team. I've been talking about it. If you want to be trusted, you must be trustworthy. It all starts with your character development at trait 1 that I shared with you. If you can't build trust, it's not their fault. It's your fault. It starts long before you arrive to lead the team. How you live your life 24/7, 365 determines if you are trustworthy. Not just how you live your life from 9 to 5, so to speak, on the job, whatever time that is. What you know matters. Who you are matters most. But there are 2 core components related to trust: character and competency. If you remember, character is weighted at 87% of the equation when it comes to influence. Shared that with you previously. So 87% of our ability to build trust in order to develop strong relationships comes from how well we have developed our character. Our intent is the first sign of our character. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen somebody walk in the room, you ain't never saw them, heard about them, nothing. They walk through the door. Something about them, you didn't like them right off the bat. Whatever that is, it's a reflection of the character. Now, you may get to know them and your opinion changes. That's still a reflection of the character. Or somebody may walk in the door, you don't think nothing about it. A little while later, you ain't liking that person because you learn about their character. But who we are on the inside will determine our intent on the outside. Who we are on the inside is what others experience on the outside. We're always either building trust or creating distrust with those we are interacting with and those that are watching. Some character traits are intent, which is our motive, agenda, and behavior. Integrity, which relates to honesty, humility, congruence, which is walking the talk, and courage. Our character development will determine our ability to build strong relationships or not. Depends on our level of development. However, that just means we like each other. But we must also get results together. Our competency, along with our character, will determine our ability to produce results. You got to have both. Character matters most. See, your character is going to maximize or minimize your competency. Your character is going to either launch you or limit you. But you got to have competency and character. You got to have both. But the team will not care how much you know until they know how much you care. A lot of people make the mistake, low impact leaders make the mistake of just trying to know everything. A lot of times they try to know something, they don't know it, but they pretend they know it. That's poor character. But a lot of times, low impact leaders, they just focus on the competency stuff, nothing to do with character. But some competency traits are capabilities, which are talent, ability, skills, knowledge, that sort of stuff. And another trait related to competency are your results, your past results, your current results, and your ability to produce future results. So I've shared with you some traits right here within trait 4. I've shared some specific traits about character and competency. All those things combine together to create your influence. And it goes much deeper than that. I'm just giving you kind of the top of the waves. But my favorite quote is by Abraham Maslow. Been my favorite ever since I heard it. He spoke these powerful words right here. He said, if we are not modeling what we are teaching, then we are teaching something else. If we're not modeling what we are teaching, we are teaching something else. What he means is you're teaching what you're modeling, not what you're teaching. A lot of people say some stuff, but they don't do the stuff. Leadership is more caught than taught. That's why it matters. What are you modeling? Leadership is more caught than taught. Be a contagious team leader. When we make a commitment to the team, we create hope. When we keep it, we build trust. Or when we break it, we create distrust. So don't make commitments lightly. If you can't keep a commitment, don't make it. When we build trust, does our influence increase or decrease? Kind of obvious. Our influence is going to increase. When someone creates distrust, do they have more or less influence with you? That answer is obvious too. When somebody creates distrust with you, they have less influence with you. Guess what? Works the other way too. You create distrust, you have less influence. The 5th and final trait we're talking about in this 2-part series right here, wrap up part 2. The 5th trait of high impact team leaders, teach the team leadership principles. You can't teach them if you don't know them. The first thing I did when I started studying leadership, remember trait 1, was to immediately start sharing it with the teams I was leading. Dr. Stephen R. Covey, author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, said this right here. If you truly want to learn this material, you must teach it to others within 24 to 48 hours. That's exactly what I started doing back in 2008 when I discovered this content. That quote I just shared with you, the very first time I ever got exposed to this type content was back in 2008. It was a 1-hour highlight of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It was a 1-hour audio highlight. The whole book on audio is like 13 hours, but I just had to highlight. That's what I got. My first exposure was that. And what I just shared with you, he probably shared it within the first 2, 3, 4 minutes on that audio. And it stuck with me. And I started doing it. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing 18 years later. And 4 years after hearing that, I stopped leading those teams, those process improvement teams, lean teams, and started doing what I'm doing now, personal growth and leadership development. All because of that quote that I just shared with you. See, there's something special about me that makes me different than a lot of people. When I hear something like that, I do that. I don't just hear it and say, oh, that's good. Or if I'm reading a book, I don't just highlight it and say, oh, that's good. I internalize it. If it's a meaningful quote to me, I'm going to live it out in my life. I'm going to validate it and I'm going to live it and then I'm going to share it. But that's what I did and I never stopped. I'm doing it right now as I share these words with you. But every individual and team asks themselves 3 questions regarding their leader. You want them to know the answers before you ever start moving forward with the objective, the mission. Why? Dedicating 20% of the time on the front end to leadership development will allow you to achieve 40% more productivity during the remaining time. with the team because they will now want to follow you. They will have an entirely different mindset. So when I was leading those teams, those 5-day teams, the first 4 hours on Monday, I focused on personal growth, leadership development of that team. I don't care what our mission was. The first 4 hours on Monday was this kind of stuff I'm talking about, and I write about today. And then 1 hour on Tuesday morning, 1 hour on Wednesday morning, 1 hour on Thursday morning, 1 hour on Friday morning. That's 8 hours out of a 40-hour week. 20%. 20% of the week. 5 times 8 is 40, right? I spend 8 hours of the week spread out over the week, heavy dose on the front end, dedicated to this right here. But the 3 questions that teams want to know about their leaders, team members: do you care for me? That matters. Can I trust you? That matters. Can you help me? That matters. Those questions you ask about your leader, whether you consciously know it or you subconsciously doing it, you want to know those things about your leader. And you've already got an answer. You don't have to think about it. You can tell me right now if your leader cares for you. You can tell me if you trust their leader, your leader. You can tell me if your leader wants to help you. You already know. The reason you know is because you already internalize these questions. So does everybody else. If you're a leader, former boss, your team member, every one of them, they already know the answer to those 3 questions. And how they're interacting with you is based on their answer to those questions. But I can tell you that many people on the teams that are not familiar with my approach, often they just want to get started. They want to tackle the issue, especially the bosses. Any of the bosses that's on the team, they ain't into this stuff. They just want to go fix the problem they got. They don't understand all this stuff is the root cause of the problems they have. First, starting with them, they need to go do some trait 1 that I've just shared with you. They need to work on personal growth and development. Because if they were a high impact leader, they'd be loving this stuff instead of wanting to get it right on past it on Monday morning. But they want to tackle the issue, get it over with, and move on. But I want to help them personally. And I also want to get great results, and I know how to do it because I've done it many, many times, hundreds of teams, thousands of people, hundreds of leaders of those people. I know a leadership principle that they may not yet fully understand, but they'll know it by the end of the week if they spend a week with me on one of those teams back in those days. I haven't led those teams since 2012, so it's been a while, but I hadn't forgot it. Now I'm just leading people in a different way at a bigger level, on a much broader level, all around the country, outside of the country. We were in Puerto Rico on January 12th, speaking to 500 leaders from around the United States and Canada. And we've spoken in Canada multiple times. Mexico, Guatemala, now Puerto Rico. But this is what they're gonna want to know. Highly effective leaders, high impact leaders go slow to go fast. See, that's what I'm doing when I go in Monday and I don't start focusing on the problem. I start focusing on the people. I'm going slow to go fast. I'm getting buy-in. I'm building relationships. I'm making connections. I'm building trust, all that stuff. Low impact, less effective leaders, they go fast to go slow. They skip all that stuff. So no one's bought in. Nobody trusts them. They start questioning their intent, all that stuff. So they go slow. They think they're going fast, but they're going slow. Pat Pirelli, he's a top leader in natural horsemanship. He says the same thing in a different way. He says, take the time it takes so it takes less time. All right, so let's get to the conclusion here and wrap up this 2-part series. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I hope you share it. If you know some leaders, share it, because if somebody's a formal authority boss, a formal authority leadership position they have, somebody's reporting to them, guess what that is? The people reporting to them, guess what you call that? A team. Again, they don't have to be leading a team through process improvement like I was. Leading a team means leading a group of people. Share this with them. Help them out. If you lead leaders who lead other people, play this podcast, turn it into a training audio, play it, pause it, talk about it, play it, pause it, talk about it. It may take you 3, 4, 5 episodes to get through these two episodes here, because this is an hour's worth of content. You could take these 5 traits, split it into one trait at a time over 5 weeks. You could play the audio related to the one specific trait and talk about it as a team. All kind of things you can do. But if you'll adopt and apply these 5 traits, you will become a high impact, highly effective team leader. Because if you do number 1, that's going to take care of everything. You got to do number 1. But number 1 is a lot. It's what I've been working on 18 years, reading every day for 18 years. All of that's working on trait 1. 18 years of reading every day. That's a lot of days of reading. You with me? There's obviously many, many more traits that you need to know beside these 5. But again, trait 1 takes care of that. If you're actually doing it, you're going to get to them. But you'll also have to be competent relative to the mission, or know how and be willing to follow the team member who is. I've led teams of people, hundreds of teams, doing stuff I don't know nothing about. I don't have that competency. I have the competency to lead at a high level. I have the competency related to how to implement process improvement principles in any process. But I don't know the specific process. But guess what? They know that. So leadership is dynamic. On any team, there will be different leaders for different situations. I teach all of these traits during the first, that 20% that I was talking about on one of my teams when I was leading the 5-day teams. I teach these traits. The stuff I'm teaching you now, I teach those teams. Because I'm the leader of that team for the week, all throughout the week, I'm following other people. Multiple times, different people in the room are leading because the situation requires somebody who has competency that I don't have. They're the leader in that moment. So I'm trying to get my team members to do these same things that I'm doing, because it's not about position, authority, rank, or title. It's about character. So I'm teaching them character development traits, which allows them to know what's really happening instead of having to figure it out. Me teaching them these traits is actually declaring my intent, because I'm teaching them what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and why they need to do it, why they need to value it. Instead of just letting them guess, I actually teach them. You know why I don't want them guessing? Because they may guess wrong. That's why we need to declare our intent, to have a better chance of people thinking the right thing for the right reason. Sometimes during those events, I'll be the leader. Other times, members of the teams that have more competency, like I mentioned a minute ago, relative to the task at hand, they'll be the leader. It's okay. The best leaders are also the best followers. That's the way it's supposed to be. When I'm on a team and I'm the leader, what I know is we are a team of leaders, not just a team with a leader. And I'll leave you with these thoughts. We must always understand that we manage things and processes, but we should lead people. Managing and leading are 2 very different skill sets. Both are important, but for different reasons. Managers of people make decisions. Leaders of people facilitate decision making. Managers of people blame the team when things go wrong. Leaders of people take responsibility when things go wrong. Managers of people take the credit when things go right. Leaders of people give the credit to others when things go right. As a leader of people, who you think you are matters. Who you say you are matters more. But who you really are matters most. So I hope you enjoyed this 2-part series on the 5 traits of high impact team leaders. And if throughout this I said high impact team players, I got a book on that subject. So sometimes I get tangled up and don't even realize it. But it's been an episode about 5 traits of high impact team leaders. All right. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Keep climbing. Talk to you next time.
Make it happen or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mac Story's Blue Collar Leadership series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mac's books, programs, special offers, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.